Hi everyone, I'm Hayley.
And I'm Kayli.
And today we're reviewing Mickey17.
That's right. A movie about time and space. And what is time and space?
You know, let's continue.
I don't know if you knew this, it's based off of a book.
I saw that, Mickey7.
Yeah,
Not
I read
17.
that one.
You did read it.
I just finished it today.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that. But first, do you want to do some shout outs?
Yes. Oh, duh. Guys, we're famous.
I didn't want to say anything.
But,
But I think it's time we reveal.
Somebody wrote an article interviewing us about horror in movies in real life.
So much fun.
So thank you, Chilltown Blues.
Yes.
We'll link the article. I don't know if it's going to be free still by the time that this video is up. But we've linked it on our Instagram already, so hopefully you saw it there. But yes, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes.
I felt so
honored.
I know.
Somebody cares what
I'm
we're
like
talking about.
Going to somebody else's website and seeing my face, crazy.
Crazy work.
But yes, thank you for the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I apologize again for taking literally so long to answer.
So sorry.
I felt so
It took a
bad.
scary long time.
Anyway, that's what we did it for. But yes.
And then do we want to shout out Hannah?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
I hear you listen. Thanks.
She listens closely.
Oh.
Too close. Sometimes we're at work, I see her not working. Listen to us.
A great pastime.
She's over here giggling, tee-heeing. I'm like, what's so funny, Hannah? She's like, you and Hayley.
Your ass, yes. Thank you. Other hearts.
More hearts, more hearts. Shout out, shout out.
Kiss, kiss. Well, maybe that's too forward. Hug, hug.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Might get like a workplace harassment after that.
I take that out.
But yes, okay. So Mickey17. So yes, it's based off of a book, but I will let you know, very different experiences, movie and book-wise.
Did you like the book?
I don't think I ever would have picked it up if I didn't watch this movie.
Okay, so you didn't just happen to finish it and you didn't know, like you picked it up specifically for this.
I wanted to see how it compared, yeah. So Mickey17 follows Mickey Barnes, who is an expendable on a mission from one colony, not Earth, it's like some other planet, to another planet.
I thought they went straight from Earth to another planet. Oh, I didn't know what's going on. My bad.
Don't remember in the movie, but in the book specifically, it's not Earth.
Okay.
But yeah, so Mickey is an expendable, which basically means he's their guinea pig, their test subject to make sure things are safe for other people, because they have a backup of Mickey ready to print out at any moment.
So he just reincarnates over and over again, and they just kind of kill him, not for fun, but experiments.
For science, if you will.
Right.
But yeah, so Hayley, overall thoughts? Is that what we want to talk about first?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Go ahead, Hayley.
Overall thoughts on this movie, a little long, a little boring.
Oh.
I was very bored given what was happening, because it sounds like something that would be very, interesting, fascinating. I think that it was, it's also kind of a comedy. I think there were a lot of moments where the comedy was forced a bit. So I think overall it was okay. I think it had the bones of a really good movie. But for some reason, movies want to be 2 hours plus. This to me did not need to be that. I could tell this was a book because there were so many storylines happening. And I was like, and I'm sure they even left some out, but I'm like, I can tell there was like this happening, this. It felt all over the place. The first half felt like a different half than the second half. And it just seemed like it was all over the place. And I was like, I don't care. So I didn't do it for me.
Wow. Interesting. We finally disagree.
Finally,
let's go.
Fucking show, good podcast here. All right,
maybe,
you like
probably
this shit?
Not.
Like a lot. Oh.
No, I had a good time with this one. Tristan and I were giggling the whole time. We're like tee hee hee.
I mean, Mark Ruffalo will play a silly character every time.
Those teeth were a lot.
Right, his veneers.
Yeah, his Trumpianisms a lot.
It was giving Trump. I was like, is this supposed to be that? I think it is.
Well, in the interviews I saw with the director, it was not based on Trump. It's kind of like, the SVU episodes where it's like, we didn't base anybody off of like real people, but it happens to be like you
might find a story
that
matches up.
But in the interview, he was talking about how dictators act a certain way. So he was like, this isn't about Trump, but if you see Trump in it,
then maybe it's possibly similar to another dictator you may or may not have seen.
Exactly. Because like a whole bunch of crazy stuff also happened in South Korea, and that's where he's from. Like the president declared martial law to like stop protesters and all sorts of shit. So
didn't they get him out of there real quick?
Yeah, they turned it around, and that's what he was like. I'm happy that we were able to turn it around fast, but he's like, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. So I think he was talking a lot about universal power figures.
You know, it's a pattern of human history for sure.
Unfortunately. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I was giggling. I liked the messaging behind, like, you know, capitalism, colonialism, what it means to be expendable in real life, even though we're not getting printed out, but, you know, we're getting used and abused.
Right. Or, you know, you have people, because didn't Mickey originally even start this because he had some debt? Now, was he fleeing the people after him, or did he just want to make money to pay off the debt? In the book.
In the book, it's a similar reason.
Okay. So it's like you find people who are desperate, basically, or they are in a situation where they really need something, and then you're able to kind of exploit that, which I think is something that happens all the time. And then they do, and they start to not see the humanness of him and start to just see him as an experiment and as an expendable, as it's called. So I also did like the symbolism behind it. I think it was good and just kind of reflected on things that have happened, that are currently happening, and that will continue to happen because nobody wants to read a fucking history book. But yeah, I mean, I will say, I don't think it was a bad movie. And I think Robert Pattinson did great. Like, I will say, I thought his acting did really well.
Was a choice.
I was shook. I was like, is this Robert? I was ready for a British accent, but no.
Yeah.
So I think he did really good about playing the different roles and really picking a character. I feel like I haven't personally seen him play before. I mean, you've probably seen more movies he's been in than me, but I haven't really seen him play.
Just Twilight and Batman.
Right. Twilight, Batman, and I think you watched The Lighthouse.
Oh.
Sorry to bring that up.
I try to black that one out immediately.
So I thought it was good. It was good to see a more silly side of Robert Pattinson.
Very silly.
So I liked that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. Book-wise, the Mickeys are very different. Like Mickey17 and Mickey18, there's a big difference between their personalities. In the book, Mickey7, Mickey8, because it's the same premise where there is a duplicate happening because it's like the exact same thing where the friend thinks that they're dead, and so they ask for a replacement, and then they find out that they're not actually dead. But Mickey7, Mickey8 are basically the same person, just I will say, the entire book, they were like bitching about rations and how they were hungry and blah, blah, blah. Like, that was all of their conflict. I was like, bro, okay, I get it. You're starving.
Right. Get over it.
Famine. Couldn't relate. But yeah, so Mickey7, Mickey8, there wasn't a big difference. But between Mickey in the book and Mickey in the movie, Mickey7 is not a wimpy little whiny kid like Mickey17 is. Mickey7 does like sass back to his friend Berto or whatever. He's like, oh wow, you're really gonna treat a friend like this? You're gonna leave me down here to die? That's fucked up. But Mickey17, you know, he's like, oh, I guess.
He's like more of a pushover.
Right.
So was Mickey8 in the book? Was he a lot more aggressive?
Nope. He was basically the exact same thing as Mickey7.
Okay, so there wasn't that difference. So did they? Not at all. Because I know in the movie that was a big thing. It was like Mickey17 was starting to get confidence from Mickey. From Mickey18 was probably a little bit coming on a little bit too strong. But I think they try to throw that he thought he had killed his mom. Is that something that happened in the book?
It's his mom did die in like an accident of some kind, but he didn't think it was his fault.
Okay, because in the movie they really hounded on that, and it seemed like Mickey18 was helping Mickey17 develop himself. So there wasn't any aspect of them developing each other in the book. Nope. It was just a plot of, and then they had to figure out who's gonna live. So did Mickey8 sacrifice himself and then like Mickey18?
He got killed. But didn't really have a choice.
Okay, so but they didn't have that, because I mean I did kind of like that aspect of it, of like,
I did too.
It was almost like another part of himself helping him. So it's interesting that the book didn't have that in there.
It also didn't have any real political intrigue. Like the leader, he wasn't like Mark Ruffalo in the movie.
Like silly and kind of a
dumbass. Yeah.
Right. Oh. Was he more of a harder dictator in the book?
He was, but he also like stood by his own like logic, unlike Mark Ruffalo's character. Like he, you know, when he had that press conference, which I kind of giggled out. He's like, "Thank you for inviting me here." They're like, "You were subpoenaed.
Summoned here.
You're supposed to be here, bitch. If you weren't, jail. But
you said you got to turn it around. Think positive.
right. And then he was like, I think that this is awful devil's work, but we could use it. Mm-hmm. This guy in the book, he's like, I don't fuck with you because of what you're doing. He's like, I don't want this, but because this is what we need for the mission, we have to have you. So he sees him as like a necessary evil, but they also don't really experiment on Mickey the way that they do in the movie.
So what do they do?
I mean, like, they have him go out on dangerous missions that will result in him dying, so they don't waste like another person. But like when they first land on the planet, like they do send him out there to see like what would kill him, what's going to help, blah blah blah. But like what they do in the movie, they're constantly just like experimenting on him. But yeah, like I said, it's only Mickey-7, Mickey-8, not Mickey-17 and Mickey-18. So
it wasn't as many of them. Was the book funny? Like the movie was kind of a dark comedy, if you will.
I only really laughed at one point, and it was when they actually did have a threesome, and he was like, the past 2 hours were weird, and I'm not going to talk about them, but I don't regret anything. I was like, you dirty dog.
I mean, but come on. You see your man cloned. You're not going to, see if everything's the same.
Tristan's is crazy.
Oh, she's one is enough.
One is definitely enough. And I know he feels the same way about me.
Hold on, what's her name again?
Nasha?
Yeah. Was she the same in the book?
Yeah. I'd say her character was pretty much the same.
Okay. I liked her.
Yeah.
When they brought in that other girl, I was about to be very pissed. Was the other girl in the book as well?
She was. It's like a slightly different role. She's like more security. I don't know if that's what it was in the book as well, but she turns them in the book.
Is she trying to date Mickey-7 at one point?
Kind of. Like, it's a very similar circumstance where like her friend died or whatever. They weren't close. They were just roommates.
They weren't roommates.
No, they were
roommates.
No. So she was just feeling like weird and sad and lonely about it, but she ends up like turning them in. She doesn't get propositioned to like have sex with them like in the movie.
And she's not like trying to hit on Mickey, and Nasha's like, no,
not really. And then like the whole thing with the aliens, completely different in the book too.
So how so?
There's no babies. They're not cutting off tails
and grinding them up for sauce.
I don't really get this point of the movie, but yeah, there was none of that in the book. But basically they were just like a hive mind bugs kind of thing, and they didn't see like because at first they only noticed like the little ones and they think that's what the creepers are, but then they notice that there are bigger ones and they're like, oh okay, but the little ones are like expendable for them, like they don't care because
but they're not babies,
right? It's like a nail to them, like are losing like a finger or whatever. They don't really see them as anything important. But they do attack the humans because they don't see them as like a singular thing. They think of them as hive-minded, just like them. So they don't see that loss as a big loss. They do save Mickey, like they did in the movie as well, but they literally attack after that. Why? I don't fucking know.
And then does he communicate with them at the end?
He does. Yeah.
And they make peace.
They have more. They have more technology in the book, and like they have like these little ocular things. And so Mickey-6, he got taken by the creepers and they stole his ocular, and they're able to communicate with the ocular system in Mickey and the other Mickey.
Okay.
So that's how they communicate.
Did they kill Mickey-6?
They did kill Mickey-6.
But they didn't kill Mickey-7.
They did not.
Maybe they're like, this might be a god.
We already had one.
We bow down.
Right. Like, why is there more than one? Right. But they did kill Mickey-8, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did they kill the leader?
No. He's still alive in the book. Yep.
So the leader is alive. Did they demote him, or how did it end with that?
So the ending of the book is Mickey-7 and Mickey-8 have bombs strapped to them. Their plan is to go down there, set the bombs, and then like leave to destroy like their tunnel system and to kill all the aliens. Mickey-8 gets 8. And then the leader of that crew is like talking to Mickey-7 through the ocular. They're like, hey, are you the boss? And he's like, yeah. They're like, let's talk. And so what Mickey-7 tells what's it called? Marshal? Minister? What's his name? Marshal? The head guy.
Right.
The Mark Ruffalo dude, but in the book. He tells him that, oh yeah, I gave them the bomb. They know exactly what it does. And they say, as long as we don't fuck with them, they won't fuck with us. And I'm the only one who could talk to them, so you can't kill me.
Right.
But then what really happens is he just asked for like, well, he didn't tell him it was a bomb. He was just like, can I have that bag back? And they're like, oh, okay, sure. And they're like,
he doesn't kill him.
Right. And he's like, so as long as we're good, we're good. And they're like, yeah. And so he hides the bomb and is setting it up for a sequel. I think there's a second book.
Okay. But
so the commander is still alive. He's still alive. Nasha's still alive. Everybody's good.
Oh, I think I was touching on it earlier, but Nasha or Naja? I can't remember now.
In the audiobook, he said Nasha.
Okay, Nasha. Okay. I liked her character. I liked how she kind of stuck by him. I was scared that he was going to go with the other girl for a bit because as soon as I saw her and she was like flirting with him, I'm like, please don't have him go over here.
Yeah, the love
because I was like, Nasha is like his girl, like she's been there for him and all that stuff. So I'm really glad,
for real,
literally ride or die. So I was glad that she didn't get like booted out and they were gonna bring in the other girls, like the true love, because you know sometimes they have like the first girl but like the second girl is just special. But I was confused by her because when we first see Kai, they're like at the cafeteria and she's kind of flirting with Mickey17 and then Kai's girlfriend is just standing there letting her flirt, but I guess they have an open relationship.
Right, that's what it sounded like.
Anyway, that's why I was confused because I was like, are they not friends? Are they friends? What's going on? And I didn't really get her character because at some points Kai seemed to be standing up for the right thing. Like whenever they brought her into the dinner, she was standing up for Mickey17 whenever they're kind of like being terrible to him and she was kind of asking questions. But then she just seemed very surface level in other areas. Like, well, you can have Mickey17 or give me Mickey17, you can have 18. So I just didn't get her character in the movie. Yeah. It just seemed very like, what is she? Is she like somebody who stands for justice or is she a messy bitch? Or is she both?
She might be complex.
She might be both. Yeah. And then like she just had another girlfriend at the end. Her character just, she could have not been in the movie at all.
And it would have
been this same movie minus a few scenes. That's why I was like, I don't understand what she added value of anything because she didn't even turn him in really, did she?
In the movie? No.
That's, I'm like, why is she here?
I do think the Kai's character in the book makes more sense because she likes Mickey, likes, you know, she likes him. She thinks he's interesting and stuff. And she feels bad about turning him in. And then like they talk about at the end where she's going to replace him as the expendable. So they're like, fuck you. Like if you die, we'll just erase you. It will give her a chance. And so she feels weird about it, but that's basically it. I wonder if she's going to play a bigger role in the
second one. Okay.
But
I think that's why I was like, not sure what's going on here.
Yeah. In the movie, I feel like they didn't touch on it as much. But in the book, they talked about it a lot when it came to like the philosophy of like, what is the original Mickey? Because they brought up this whole story about a ship sailing from one continent to the next and how periodically it would fall apart and they would have to repair it with different boards. By the end, right. And by the end that they get to their destination, it's not made of the same material it left with. So is it the same ship? And so it's like a whole metaphor for if Mickey is still Mickey. But I feel like in both of them, they did capture their fear of death a lot, which I thought was an interesting take on it because when you are immortal, you don't really fear dying. You know what I mean? Like it gives them a sense of freedom. And Mickey in either book or movie like never really experienced freedom, which I thought was an interesting take.
I guess because if you're immortal, generally like superheroes or this or that, they're not ever on the verge of death and they don't ever die. Like Mickey is actively dying constantly
in painful ways.
So like I could see why at least the movie Mickey was terrified because it's like, you're made to do this and I don't think it gets easier every time. And because I think do they talk about what Mickey experiences when he dies? Like in the book or in the movie, people are always asking him like, what happens when you die?
They ask him a lot.
Does he know? Because maybe he doesn't even know. He just keeps getting brought back and that's what's still terrifying is you don't know. Also, he may not know if he comes back.
And that's another thing too. Yeah. That's what the threat is at the end. They're like, what if we just get rid of you? He's like, I don't even think I'm the real Mickey anyway. So go ahead, kill me.
Mickey? Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think that because like I was talking to Tristan about it and I was like, I think it's interesting because like even if we take this into a religious mind frame, there's a lot of people who believe in an afterlife and yet they still have this like fear of death, which it's like you shouldn't if you know that you're going to come back. But it's like it's not really the death part, it's the dying part because well, one, we never know how we're going to go. And two, sometimes it's not painful. I mean, sometimes it's very painful.
Right. So getting there. Crossing that bridge is what's
very
terrifying.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there's a little bit of nobody really knows. Like even if you're religious or even if you're not or this or that, like I feel like there's still some level of like, I actually don't know what's going to happen because nobody does. Everybody that knows
ain't here.
Isn't here. So it's kind of like, it is that fear of, we think we know, but we don't know. Like Mickey assumes he'll come back, but what if whatever colony they're at, just they can't get to him in time, or this or that, or they decide not to bring him back? Like, it could always be your last time. Like, he doesn't really know what's going to happen.
He doesn't have a say in it.
Has hope that he'll be back.
Right. It's up to somebody else to figure out if they want to bring him back or not.
Right. So that could be definitely terrifying. For sure.
He was talking about the director, which is the same director who did Parasite.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Love Parasite.
I've realized I watched quite a few of his movies, and he, in his interview, was like, he was like, I didn't want to treat Mickey badly at the end of this. I wanted to give him a happy ending because he's like close to my son's age. And he's like, looking back, I think I treated a lot of my characters poorly.
You know, if that's how you feel, if that's the art we're doing.
And that's what he said. He's like, sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, I think there's a balance.
Yeah. So he was talking about, which I thought was interesting, because he was like, when it comes to being oppressed or being in a system that you are not enjoying anymore, he's like, the reaction of being like, oh, well, all of this is my fault. Like, I can't do anything to change it, blah, 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 blah. He's like, that's the opposite energy that you need for this type of discussion, because it's not you, it's the system that's broken. And that's what he was highlighting with Mickey17, because Mickey17 was like, oh, I deserve this. I'm supposed to be dead. I'm supposed to be punished because I killed my mom, or blah, 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 blah. And so it's showing like that energy isn't actually going to help with the broken system, because it's not you, it's the system.
And so you need a little bit of that Mickey18, a balance.
He
might have took things a little too far.
A little bit.
But
because I mean, it was crazy.
He said he did what?
He said, let's go.
He almost punched him in the face.
I was like, that's
he said, you let him do what? Ooh, I almost hit you.
He said, it's not for you.
He said,
it's
no,
for real.
Let me put it down.
No, that whole thing was crazy.
Literally wild. And I love, what's her name?
Toni Collette.
I just think she does so well.
As everything. An insane person.
She does so great. I just love her. So I think she did really good in Mark Ruffalo. Like, they were definitely funny. I do feel like it was, I want to say predictable, but I mean, I think the reason why I was kind of a little bit bored is because I saw where everything was going.
Yeah.
So especially towards the end when they're kind of fighting the monsters. And I feel like for a point in time, we were like getting away from the whole Mickey's. And it was like 30 minutes about just like the monsters and stuff. But like, they're nice. So we know that they're going to have to, you know, talk to them and then make friends. I don't know. So I think it's just, I did get a little bit bored.
Yeah. I think it was long.
Scenes were a little long. Yeah. So I just don't know if that's me, my little attention span, or if I feel like a lot of movies recently have just been very long. And I just don't know if
it's worth it.
Or we need to have it all in there. And I do feel like since it was a little bit all over the place, I feel like it was hard to really grasp like the main message. Because what was the main message of this movie? I do not know. Like, I feel like there was about 5 ideas running around. Like, you have the political things going on, and you have Mickey and his own internal things going on. You have class, and you have colonialism, and you have this, and you have that, and you have all this stuff that I think are these messages. Yeah. And then I'm just kind of like, I feels like there's a lot of ideas in one, and it did feel a little bit much. So, I mean, I know this was long, but I could even see this as like a limited series. Like, if we're going to flush out that many ideas, I feel like we do need to have almost more time, because for what it was given, it was too long. It was too much in one. But I feel like if this was like an 8-part series, and they
for
had like
each Mickey.
Right. Mickey17. But I think that might have actually worked a little bit better, because then I feel like you could dive in more, because part of it was like everything just seemed very surface level because it had to go so fast, and because I feel like there was a lot going on, which is why I was like, this definitely must have been a book, because I could tell that this would make more sense as a book that you can read and flush things out.
Which is crazy though, because like I said, it's 2 different experiences. Like, most of the stuff I enjoyed about the movie wasn't even included in the book. When I tell you a lot of this was just the Mickeys talking about how hungry they were, I was like, bro, do something.
Wrap it up.
Okay. So the book it's not giving. This is one of the times where I think the movie is better than the book. Specifically for me,
more entertainment going on in it. Okay, I can see that.
So
when was the book written? Do you know?
I think 22.
Oh, so pretty recent, or it was released pretty recently. Okay.
Yeah. So Yeah, you would think that it would have been fleshed out more in the book, but I mean, it wasn't even there. So,
well, then never mind. Maybe they just added a bunch in one. But
yeah, because I mean, what I did like is that the Mickeys were different in the book than the movie. I kind of wish our Mickey had. I don't love the drasticness between Mickey 17 and Mickey 18. Extreme. It was too much of a caricature. Like I wish Mickey 17 wasn't such a pushover to begin with.
It was a little much.
Because in the book he's not, and he's not a dumbass either. Like he's a historian, but in the planet that they're living in, they have technology so abundant that like why do I need some random dude telling me about history when I could just look it up immediately?
Right.
So that's why he's out of a job. But also money isn't like an issue there. Like they have allocations for every citizen there so they can pay for their food and like their housing. The reason why he loses his money is because he fucks over Birdo, his friend, because his friend is like, hey, I'm about to go on this trip, but I'm going to try to like win the sport one more time and see if I can. And he's like, it's been 9 years since you played this sport, so obviously you're going to lose. So every game he bet against his friend. He thought he was going to lose, and he didn't. He
kept winning.
He won all of them, and he lost money to the same guy from the movie. So that's how they lost money. It wasn't because of his like bad friendship.
I see. So he wasn't really a bad friend.
Only a bad friend in the fact that he like left him to die all the time. Right. Yeah, that stayed consistent.
That'll do it.
I think really the only thing that the book really, really touched on was like what it means to die and come back, like never really die, be immortal in this way, where it's like you still experience death, but you come back each time, and what it means to be like you, which I think is explored a little bit in the movie as well, because like, you know, he's trying to figure out if he should feel bad for all the other Mickeys who didn't get a chance because they destroyed the thing. Oh, they don't do that in the book either.
They said, well, we'll just continue it, but someone else.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I guess the only thing about him being such a stark contrast of a personality between 17 and 18 is it does kind of take away a little bit more of like, am I Mickey or not? Because if they're pretty similar, then it begs the question, like, who is the real Mickey? Like, we come back very similar. We look the same, but are we the same? But in this one, it just feels like it's kind of the luck of the draw. He says there's variations in all of them. So it doesn't, you don't feel as much of, oh, are these all Mickeys? It's like kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it really allows for that conversation, just because if they're going to come out pretty different, then it's like, okay, well, clearly it's not the same person.
You're a different version.
So it's a different version. Right. Yeah. But I think if the book is a little bit closer or a lot closer and they're the same, it's like that little Spider-Man meme, like,
right. Exactly. Exactly.
So that would have been a little bit interesting, which I think is why I kind of also didn't enjoy it necessarily, because I felt like they could have gone a little bit more with that whole thing about how he's reincarnating. But I feel like that was almost a backstory to the movie.
For sure.
When it is the main part of the movie. So I feel like they could have made that much more interesting, and they didn't. It just was kind of like, hi, funny. Like, this is just funny. And he's like, you know, representing poor. So yeah, sucks to be him, but let's move on. But I feel like there's a lot of like deeper things of like, what does it mean to be you? If you are cloned, or if you have a clone, like, who is that you? Do you have more than one soul? Like, they touched on that a little bit in the movie bit, but I think I was also a little bit disappointed because I was waiting to hear just more about that. Yeah. Versus him running around being silly. And then it's like an innie and outie. It's giving Severance.
Everything is, actually. It's all
Everything
connected.
is Severance. Just kidding.
I know that this director really enjoys talking about class. And so I know that, with Parasite
for sure. But I really like Parasite.
Yeah. And like having loser characters is like his thing too. Because he made another movie called The Host. And like the dad in that one is pretty much a loser.
Okay.
I mean, same with Parasite. They're kind of losers.
Right.
So that's who he likes as a main character. So I can understand why he emphasized Mickey17, who's our hero, being a wimpy little loser.
I wonder why that is. Why he's drawn to those type of characters.
He likes to cheer for the underdog, but then he's also like, I do my characters dirty. So
like, well, it's your movie.
Right. But yeah, so I think it was an interesting adaptation. I think they just really took the concept of having multiples and like what that would look like out in space.
Which made it interesting because it's like the new frontier. Because I don't think it would have made as much sense if you're on Earth. Like, obviously, did they say what happened to Earth in the book? Because like in the movie, it's like, you know, we're of course, climate change. We got to get out of here.
It did say that. And like, they don't believe that there's anybody living on Earth. Like, they haven't heard from Earth in a long time.
Oh, gosh.
So we don't know.
So they're just on other planets, chilling. Because I thought in the movie they went from Earth straight to another planet. Like they
might have
in space for a while, and then just landed on a planet. And they're like colonizing, and they're like, the aliens. She's like, we are the aliens, dumbass. I was like, period.
They hate it. They said, man, look at those fucking freaks. It's like, hey, we were here.
Yeah, they're like, us?
You're the freak.
You can't come here and talk shit about me.
Right. In my home.
My planet. You look weird.
But one thing that I think they should have kept in from the book is that guy who they're like, this is the reason why they don't like multiples is because of the sociopath guy who like made like multiple of them to kill homeless people. In the book, he goes to another planet and takes over that planet
with all of himself.
Yeah, and they have to blow up the planet because like he's killing people to make more of him, because like for his machine to work, he had to have basically the same materials.
So he kept using people as material.
Yeah. And so he was taking over those people that lived there.
That's insane.
Yeah.
They were like human people or like...
No, they were humans because they also like went over on that planet, but that they had a weird way of working. They're like, we don't want to help each other out, so you better just survive. Like if you don't, you should have packed better, bitch. Don't know what to tell you.
So that's why he was like that. These people
so that's why he was
anyway.
able to take over, because like they were so segregated that they didn't know what was going on until it's too late.
Couldn't do anything.
Yep.
That sounds much more interesting.
Than killing some homeless people. Yeah. I was like, oh, boring. Well, that was insensitive. My bad. But
well, that's all, folks.
But it was just like, I don't know. It was just like a random plot point of him like going on a murder spree. I was like, why?
It's probably more another political commentary, you know.
True. The people who are disenfranchised are getting killed.
Getting taken advantage of by the elite weirdos who are always doing weird shit.
And then it's not even about the people who are getting killed. It's more about this man being a multiple. That's what the argument really was. It's like, this is not right because you can't have more than one soul and one body. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. But I just didn't like it as much.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. I had a good time with this movie. I feel like it hit all the right notes for me. It was political enough and goofy enough where it wasn't like taking itself too serious to give a message about how it felt about politics.
Overall, thought it was an okay movie. Thought it was a little bit boring. I was definitely ready to be over 2 hours and 17 minutes. Absolutely not.
No, that was pretty crazy. Because there was a point where I saw my watch. I was like, oh, bitch, we got a whole other hour to go.
And can we talk about how movie theaters and their previews think it's so appropriate to be 30 minutes long? Girl, we sat down at 7. Previews weren't done until 7:30. When I tell you we got up to the bathroom, James got popcorn, people in the theaters were getting up and leaving. I'm like, there's no reason why we sat here 30 minutes ago and we still can get up, come back, get some food, go to the bathroom, and
still
there's
have
still
plenty of time to spare.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
Previews used to be 10, 15 minutes. Double?
It's crazy.
No. Stop wasting my fucking time. Because by the movie start, it was 7:30. I said, we got 2 hours, bro. I'm going to be out of here at 10 or 9:30. Plus some. Yeah. By the time I get out and everything's done, it's like almost fucking 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or 10 o'clock. Whatever you want to say it. I was like, no, this is not acceptable.
So Tristan and I have a bad habit of being late. But there's
doesn't matter.
No, with that, I know. But there's this one movie theater we used to live next to. That bitch has like 5 minutes of previews.
Oh, they were on time.
No, we didn't learn that in like we learned that the hard way. Because one time we came in, the movie had already been started. We were like, oh, bitch. So
that's not.
We're like, this is not what we're used to.
They said, baby, we got 5 minutes. Go.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Must not have been Cinemark.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I let's see. I don't want to shit on it because it gets me every time it works for me. It's like Wicked, but we haven't. Have you seen Wicked yet?
No, not yet. I'm waiting for it to come out on streaming.
Yeah. But like anytime there's something to do with like animals getting harmed, it hits me every time.
Girl, when they cut that tail.
When they cut the tail, when they had the baby on a hook, when they shot that baby up.
It was nasty. That's another thing that kind of irritated me is I feel like they took things a little bit too far in some of those scenes for shock value. And so I was kind of turned off a bit because I'm like, I get it, but like, did you have to shoot the baby bug to literal smithereens?
Right.
And then the other baby bug, they like brought him back to the mom and I was like, he's dead. I'm sorry, that baby's gone. You telling me they stabbed him through the back, cut off the tail, and it was like almost hitting. It was like in the heat, like almost hitting down into the lava. And I'm like, there's nothing to give back.
No, yeah.
It was a lot. There were some things that were a lot. And I was kind of like, oh, it's one of those where they're just like overkilling it a little bit.
It was definitely showing because in the book, the aliens aren't seen as these like vulnerable creatures. It's more of like, no, will attack if need be. They don't mind. But this one, it was like, oh no, like these are things that should be cherished. Like we're over here killing babies for what? Which could be said about a lot of stuff that happens today.
Maybe there is. Yeah, maybe I'm sure there's some symbolism in that, but I just was like...
It was a lot for me. I was like, why are they doing that to the baby?
I get it. You could have just pick one of those things.
it's
she
like
blended that tail up. I was like, okay,
she said my sauce. Right. I don't know what the symbolism with the sauce thing is.
I watched a guy on TikTok who was talking about that, and basically sauce is her way of being an elite. It's just she thinks that the sauces are a symbol, because obviously there are other people are starving. She's like obsessed with her sauces, and one could argue that sauces are like a luxury, and she's obsessed with that luxury. And she talks about like when she's in the end scene, that's really Mickey in his mind, but she's like, you don't even deserve this, like your palate's just not here. Like it's more of just symbolism for her and her elitism. And it also shows like how much she just does not give a fuck. Like she's so worried about her sauce, and like these are the finer things in life, but you guys can't even taste this, you guys don't even need to taste this. So it's supposed to be a little bit of her elitism, if you will.
I know that shit tastes like ass.
I know Mark Ruffalo's character was,
he said,
all right, good, okay, next. I'm like, sauce? You're not even a sauce, girl. You didn't even put effort into it
at all. There's no cooking. There's no balance of acidity and sweetness. Nothing. She just blended shit up and called it a day.
No, she's doing too much.
Or why she thought Tails was a good sauce? I don't. Anyways.
No, literally.
I don't get it. But the dream sequence at the end when he was like, I've always had really scary dreams. I was like, when have you ever experienced this throughout the whole movie?
I was like, did we now?
It was such a weird thing. The dream thing does happen in the book, so maybe that's what it was like paying homage to. But it was like such a weird like jump scare of like,
what's going on?
Oh, the colonel's coming back to life or whatever. I was like, oh, that was weird. I think that was one thing we really did not need at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, I get he was having his final moment, but I feel like it was that a couple times. Like even with his mom's backstory, it felt very like they just threw it in there a couple times.
Yeah.
And then Mickey17 was like, "That's not your fault." He's like, "Oh, okay," and then like moved on, and we didn't.
Right, which is weird because it's like, if y'all are the same person, why does he know that it's not his fault?
Right. I guess it was himself. Girl, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, I don't understand why they were so different every single time. Because like in
I think that was supposed to be the most drastic, because he said other Mickeys have come out slightly different before.
They have.
But who's the original Mickey? Because the original Mickey, when they're in the flashback, seemed like Mickey17.
No.
So I don't know. I was kind of like, all right, he's Mickey17. We'll just go with that.
Right. So if you had the chance to have immortality,
the fuck no.
But with different parameters in this, you don't have to do dangerous missions like this, but you do, like, if you were to die, you would come back the way that you are now at 28. Would you have that chance? Would you do it?
No.
Oh.
I don't mess with stuff like that.
Oh.
I think the way we're supposed to...
Do you believe in the one soul thing too?
No, not even that. I just don't want to do that. You want me to die and come back? No, I'm too dramatic for that.
We know.
I'll be like as I'm coming out of the thing, like
as you're printing.
No, as I'm printing, I'm screaming. I'm already wide awake. I'm having a panic attack. Like, oh my god. Excuse me, ma'am.
We have a surprise guest.
Is it Ela? Oh,
not Ela.
It's Ela.
It's Ela. Welcome
Close enough.
back. Look at the camera. It's right there. Look right there. Up here.
Ela.
Oh god, she's attacking.
Wait,
she's attacking. Ela.
I'm sorry, I call her Ela so much. I don't know what's going on.
Anyways, so you wouldn't come back?
No, I think that there's something beautiful to life, living, and death, and staying dead. What about you?
And staying dead.
Would you come back?
I feel like it is kind of a nice safety net to have, where it's like, I could come back. So it feels like when I don't have to worry about the extremes of my death, like I think it would buy you that freedom of like, oh, well, like, you know, I can try different things and not be afraid that I'm going to die.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Jump off a cliff. See what happens.
So it's like traveling nowadays, kind of scary.
Girl. Yeah.
So there's things like that are out of our control, where it's like it's kind of hindering our quality of life. Like, oh, I kind of get nervous about traveling because something could happen.
Right.
So it's like, well, if I die, I could come back, print it out, brand new, spanking new.
Right.
So I do like that freedom it could give you, but I would not sign up to be an expendable.
No, not the experiments.
A guinea pig, bitch.
That's crazy.
And it's like, I have to remember all of that.
No. And then I just come back with all the memories and think of the trauma you would have from dying. Like you have to have a serious therapist.
Yeah.
Like that would be very dramatic. Yeah. Dying and then coming back like 7, 8, 9, 10 times. No, ma'am.
Yeah. What would you give it, Hayley?
Out of 5? 2.5.
Oh.
2.5 out of 5.
Just an average time for you.
Average, yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize that it wasn't a bad movie, so I'm not going to, rate it low. But I did think it was almost there for me. But what about you?
I gave it a 4. I really liked it.
That's fucking insane. I'm glad you have your own opinion.
Thank you. Be happy. We didn't even disagree on anything. we
That's
just
true. We just had different interpretations.
Exactly.
Different
we just had a better time.
Did Tristan like it?
He did. He gave it a 4 too.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a good time. Oh, I tell you, we were giggling. We were giggling. I don't know if anybody else was giggling. I only heard
Just
me and
y'all.
But I also, he told me that the theater was empty when we left. There was a lot of people there.
Not Tristan being not aware of any of his surroundings.
So we were over here giggling.
Just giggling. Everybody's like,
they're like, it's not that fucking funny.
Up.
Anyways, if you like expendable items, then you'll love our Instagram at Hayley and Kayli. We also have a TikTok at Hayley and Kayli as well. What else do we have, Hayley?
We have a Gmail at presspodcast@gmail.com. You can email us all your comments, questions, concerns. We also have YouTube. If you're watching us here, at Hayley and Kayli.
Mm-hmm.
We're on podcasting. Wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, we finally got that shit up. So if you want to watch our last episode and hopefully the ones going forward,
if you
and
just
any
want to
old ass
listen
ones we had from a long 5 years ago,
right?
Feel free
at Press Podcast. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you thought about this one down below. Are you a fan? Are you a hater? Are you expendable? Who knows? We don't know what we're going to be talking about next time. But when we find out, we'll be talking about it.
You'll see it posted 8 weeks later.
Damn, Aliens. I'm being a hater. We're famous now. We have an article. Be nice.
We are published.
Not published. Anyways. Bye. Bye. Politics.
Oh, what is that? You get like a night tickle?
No, I do actually. Every night I'm in bed, I wake up. Tristan's like, "Are you?"
I'll be laying down, like, fine all day. Don't let me lay down. Everything settles.
It's crazy.
That damn dust storm we had today. When I was coming over here, like my both nostrils were stuck. I was like, bro, I can't breathe out here. I had to take Curtis for a walk. I was like, I shouldn't be out here.
It was
something scary in this air. I was
and
like,
did you see the sun?
No. That fucking orange ass. Well, I didn't because it was covered, but I was like, I think there was a clear sky today.
It looked like a hole in the atmosphere. That's what it looked like. It looked like a perfect white hole. I was like, is that the moon? Tristan's like, that's the sun.
I said, no, baby, get inside. Something's happening.